Oh, motherfucker, you can't have my cornbread. That's for damn sure. Because if you try to take my cornbread, part 2 of my killing spree gonna begin up in here on your ass right now. If you think about my cornbread, they get the taste out your mouth. That's for damn sure. Now, fuck him. Fuck that. Because I'm from New York City, goddammit. Nobody take no cornbread from me. That goes for you and any other you motherfucking farmers wanna try some shit. You fuck around with me, it's gonna be consequences and repercussions.
Haters gonna hate.
What up, what up, what up? What's good, fam? What's going on, y'all? It's Maestro Styles and Trey Frazier here. Another episode of the Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast live on the website. That's www.barbershopsportstalkpodcast.com. Make sure y'all check us out on the Facebook page. Also, you can follow us on Twitter at BarbershopSPOR2. Also, you can follow us on Instagram at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. And also, you can find us on YouTube as well. Maestro Styles, we got him in the building. And we got a special guest on with us this week. We did this man's show Saturday, and we thought it was right for him to come on our show this Tuesday. And I just want to introduce to everyone else out here, this gentleman's name is Jordan Rosario. He is the host of the Keeping It 100 podcast, which you can find on all the X Squad affiliate platforms. Also, I believe his podcast is on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. So, Jordan Rosario, what's going on, man?
Hey, everybody. Maestro Trey, thank you so much for inviting me onto your show today. When you guys were on my podcast Saturday, that was a lot of fun, and I got to say, I am going to be fired up for some of these topics that we are going to be talking about tonight.
No doubt. That's what's up. No doubt. Yeah, you sound, man, you sound in a good mood, man.
You fired up, man.
Yeah.
It may be something to do with what's going on here in an hour and a half.
No doubt. Yeah, we're gonna get to that. We're definitely gonna talk about Nuggets and Jazz. It's Game 7 going on tonight. Winner take all moves on to the next round. I'd be remiss though if we didn't start out with the passing of John Thompson Jr., former coach,
absolutely
legendary coach at Georgetown University. And, you know, since this is Maestro City and, you know, I want to kind of give him the floor and, you know, kind of talk about what, you know, John Thompson Jr. has meant to him and, you know, just some of the things that you've seen, you know, being a DC native and, you know, watching all the players come through Georgetown and watching him act and all that. I'll start with you, Maestro. What you got?
Yeah, for certainly. Again, rest in peace, man. Condolences. In my lifetime, one of the bright spots in the DMV area when it comes to sports. Obviously, he coached UN and more of my time, Allen Iverson. The legendary Allen Iverson and Victor Page, who taught AI the crossover. For those who don't know, Allen Iverson, I tell you, to this day, he got his crossover skills from Victor Page. Look, man, legendary dude, solid in the community. I don't pretend to have this story 100% accurate because I was young, and this was the 80s, the crack epidemic, the days of Rayful Edmonds and you know, that era of drugs in the city. But, you know, obviously when you were a college player and when you, you know, you were as good as a team as Georgetown was in the 80s, you know, those college kids get particular perks, get to hang around the city, hang around certain people, and it's easy to get caught in with the wrong crowd. There's a story, a campfire story where, certain players was kind of getting mixed in with the wrong crowd, and John Thompson personally took it amongst himself to go speak to Rayful Edmond and be like, look, no shade to what you doing and all that, but these is college kids trying to get to where they trying to get to, in the NBA or whether it be college degrees or whatever they're, but I'm gonna need you to kind of back up off of them a little bit so they can do what they need to do as far as their academics and as far as their athletics, because the last thing we need is some type of a scandal, or players being mixed in with what you do on a national level. Obviously, like I said, with the DMV area in the 80s being one of the hot spots for drugs and the crack epidemic. So definitely respect to John Thompson and the kind of man he was.
Jordan, what you got?
Well, I'm going to, because I personally have never seen Thompson coach. During his heyday, I was probably about a decade too late, born in 95. But I am going to talk about a disciple, if you will, of Thompson, Allen Iverson. I was actually going to talk about this on the show next week. There was a Twitter post that I wanted to quickly touch up on. Thanks for saving my life, Coach. I'm going to miss you, but I'm sure that you are looking down on us with a big smile. I would give anything just for one more phone call from you, only to hear you say, "Hey, MF." Then we would talk about everything except basketball. And when I really reflect on Iverson's personality, when he was on the 76ers, when he was on the Denver Nuggets, that type of pit bull, I mean, he was called the answer for a reason. And I would be amiss to say that certainly John Thompson didn't have some sort of influence on Allen Iverson, especially after Georgetown. So my condolences to John Thompson and, of course, the Georgetown University and Thompson's family.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my thoughts with John Thompson Jr. is just, I mean, there's a lot of families in sports, right? But I think when they rank the top families in sports, I don't think the Thompson family gets enough love. Everybody talks about the Mannings in football, the Williams sisters in tennis. I don't think people talk about the Thompsons enough, when it comes to college basketball. So John Thompson Jr., he comes in. Georgetown is known as this white preppy school, not known for basketball back in the day. And then he comes in and he takes this program off and running. I mean, when you talk about the mid-'80s, when Big East basketball was Big East basketball, all the players he had, Patrick Ewing, Alonzo Mourning, Dikembe Mutombo, Allen A.I. to answer Iverson, and a few others that have, came and gone there. Something interesting about this too, and just to kind of stick to the family part of it, the fact that his son took over to coach Georgetown was, dope in itself. As far as the players at Georgetown, there was a stretch for a while where under his tutelage, almost every person on that basketball team, and I don't remember the years, but they served at least 3 to 4 years in college. And I think that kind of shows you, and I know that that's been sort of the thing back in the day, but I think John Thompson made it sure that these players not only do, come in for your freshman year or sophomore year and then get out to the NBA, but he made sure you was going to, stay all, 4 years, and then you can, ride off to the NBA. He also pushed academics as hard as he can, with the players, specifically black players. That's one of the things I loved about him. The other thing is Maestro brought up the Rayful Edmond thing, and every time John Thompson gets talked about, it seems like that story gets brought up a lot. Notorious drug dealer, back in the 80s in DC. Didn't learn really much about him until I moved out here about 20 years ago. And I know there was like a BET special called American Gangster, and I think Rayful Edmond was one of those, gangsters that they highlighted in that show. And that's how I learned about the interaction between him and John Thompson. And the fact that John Thompson was the only dude to, step to this cat, because, again, this guy was notorious in the city. And for him to just be like, look, man, leave my players alone. You do what you do. That's cool. But my players, I'm trying to get them on the right path. And I can't have nobody messing that up. And Rayful Edmond was like, all right, I'm a back up and I'm a chill. And I heard somebody say this on TV the other day. Apparently Rayful Edmond, I don't want to make this about Rayful Edmond, so I apologize if people think I'm making this about him, but I did hear that he got released recently and is being held under witness protection. I don't know if you heard that.
I don't know. I ain't heard that. But
me neither.
Oh, okay. Well, I heard somebody say that on TV, but I do want to close this by just saying rest in peace to John Thompson Jr.
For sure.
And shout out to the family and his kids. Ronnie, John III, and Tiffany, his daughter. Just want to give them a shout out. So I guess we can get into this game. I guess we can get into this Jazz and Nuggets series, man. Game 7 tonight on the line. I got to go back to Game 6. I'm sorry. I gotta go back.
To nothing to be 6. Sorry about, man.
No, please,
man.
Let's remember Game 6.
my man's, and it's so funny because I think on your show, Jordan, we were talking about Donovan Mitchell versus Jamal Murray, and how you kind of felt like, man, we could have had Donovan Mitchell, and I'm like, wait a minute, Jamal Murray ain't no slouch. He's just as good himself. And what did he do in Game 6? He dropped another 50 burger. And, I mean, this guy's doing something, like, legendary. And I hate to, use that word, with him in his third, season in the NBA. But what he's doing right now is
what he did, though.
Yeah. What he did is legendary. 2 50-point games. He had a 42-point game in the middle of that. And I hate to say it, bro. I think the Jazz are done. I know I said it was hard for me to believe that they blow this series, that they would blow a 3-1 lead. But after watching what I watched in those 2 games, leading up to this point, I mean, Donovan Mitchell could drop 50, and it's probably nothing much more he could do about it if Jamal Murray is going to keep doing this.
So in a 1-on-1, I mean, obviously we're not talking about 1-on-1, but in a star against star Game 7, you're taking Jamal Murray over Donovan Mitchell.
You mean 1-on-1 as far as like the stat goes?
Obviously we're not talking about 1-on-1. I'm talking about this Game 7 right now.
Okay, who's gonna win? You're saying?
Yes, you're taking Jamal Murray over Donovan Mitchell right now.
Yeah. I'm taking the Nuggets tonight, man.
Okay.
Because I thought the Jazz would close this thing out in 6. To be honest with you.
Look, I'm with you. I thought that they would close it out, but let's be very clear. But I just thought my prediction was wrong. I had the Nuggets going to the finals. Mm-hmm. So, look, my mind is a whirlwind, bro. I change my mind all the time, and I'm okay with that. Saturday I was with you guys that the Jazz would probably close, and then this happened, and now I'm right back like I never left. I have no problem being wishy-washy on a team that I'm not even really rooting for. I think the Nuggets are going to win in Game 7. I'm with you.
Well, that's why I'm saying, I mean, at this point you got to stick with the pick. I mean, they still in it. Yeah, but like I said, when we spoke earlier in the week or last week, I was off the boat. I was off the boat, but here we are. I hear you. I thought the Jazz was going to close them out, but they opened the door too wide. Nuggets win tonight. So Jordan, I know you want to wax poetic about your team, so I'm gonna let you take the floor, man.
Let's start off by saying, if I can go back and recap the time that you were on my show, I did say that I would like Murray and Mitchell on the same team because that was what happened. We had Mitchell, the 2017 NBA draft, pick number 13, and we traded him away for some guy named Trey. And he doesn't even play with the team anymore. So, that was a great decision by the Nuggets franchise at that point in time.
Trey Burke.
Another story. Trey Burke, thank you. And Trey Burke's not even on our team anymore. So, again, great decision by the Nuggets front office. But presently speaking, Murray has been golden. I did say when we were down 3-1 that Murray and the Joker need to pick it up. I even said this when we were down 2-1. And so far, Murray has stepped up. He has dropped 50, 40, and now 50 again. And we are coming into this series with the biggest momentum that we need. I fully believe that Murray will turn on the Jets yet again. I'm going to need Joker to pick it up just a little bit more. 22 points in Game 6, not bad, but I really do want a little bit more. And one of the unsung heroes that I want to talk about, considering the fact that he didn't even play last season, and yet he is starting to make his mark little by little, Michael Porter Jr. Did he have great points? No. Did he have great assists? No. But what is important, especially because we were talking about offense, defense back on our show, rebounds. And he put up 12 rebounds in 28 minutes. Not bad because considering the fact you don't get rebounds that often. So what is going to be important, my closing? Grant, 18 points, Game 6. Would love to see him a little bit more because when we play against the Clippers, we need Grant to get going because Grant has had a great defensive matchup against Kawhi Leonard when we played them in the regular season before, of course, coronavirus happened. So he's going to be important. Joker, I think he's going to go off. I think we are going to see the MVP Nikola Jokic. I'm triple-double. I am calling a triple-double on the tower of Nikola Jokic, and the Nuggets are going to play the Clippers. You can book it.
I like that energy.
I like it, man. I like what you're saying, man. And look, I feel like we kind of need to hurry up and get you off the line so you don't miss the tip off, man. Because I don't want you to feel like you're missing something great, man.
Oh, no. You know what? I'm already here. I am doing something great. The Nuggets can wait, but this is a great, great show, and I appreciate being a part of it. I'm very honored to join with you guys today.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Appreciate that. Hey, I want to get into the chat room real quick, and we do have one of our A1 Day Ones who is also a Denver Nuggets fan based out of Denver. Big
Yes,
Kev
sir.
303 is in the chat.
What's going on, Kev?
Just a couple of comments from him. He said the return of Gary Harris is huge for the Nuggets' best perimeter defender. Facts, because I did see him the other night, and he did play a role in them, winning that game. And then Trey Lyles. I know I said Trey Burke, but I think Trey Lyles was the person you were talking about, Jordan.
Yeah, Trey Lyles, that guy. He is not even on the roster, so that was just a waste of a trade. And like I said, I can go off about that trade, but that's the past. I'm looking forward to the present.
No doubt. Just a few other people here in the chat I want to give a shout out to. Miss Mocha Bella, repping the X Squad, is up in here. We got RC, the boxing aficionado.
What's
also,
happening?
I think that's it. Yeah, that's all we got in the chat right now. Go ahead, Maestro.
Yeah, no, I was going to ask Jordan, man. So, look, I'm a big dreamer, man. So I'm gonna ask you to dream with me. Probability of the Nuggets going to the finals.
I predicted before the season started that the Nuggets will reach the conference finals. If I had to predict the road ahead, so you're telling me that we need to beat the Clippers, okay, that's doable as long as we can get Grant on track. That is going to be our key for that series. So if that happens, absolutely they get to the conference finals. Now, who do we play there? I definitely believe, because, I don't believe in either the Houston Rockets or the Oklahoma City Thunder, so we're going to have to play the Lakers in the conference finals. It will be tough, but I give the Nuggets if we play the Lakers in the conference finals, I give the Nuggets a 55% chance of reaching the finals. 55.
I like that.
That's
because
good.
I want I want my revenge from 2009. I want to stick it to the Lakers.
2009. You've been holding this since 2009.
That's right. When
Conference Finals, Melo and Chauncey Billups, J.R. Smith, that crew.
Yep.
And we got beat. We got beat by the Black Mamba. Rest in power. Rest in power.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, I would love to see the Nuggets get to the conference finals, and I do think that that's going to be a pretty solid matchup in the second round against the Clippers. I think the key for the Nuggets, you said one of them, which is Jeremy Grant. I think the other key is really going to be how Michael Porter Jr. Improves that shot. I know he's played some great defense, but I think Michael Porter Jr., that guy could shoot the ball. I think
absolutely.
I think this guy can give you a good, 17, 18 points easy off the bench.
And you pointed back out Gary Harris. Now, he didn't have the greatest offensive game, He had a great defensive game, but Gary Harris is going to be very important for us, too, down the line. I need him to have – I don't need him to put up Murray or Joker numbers that I expect them to put up tonight, but I definitely need Harris to give me a good solid 10, 15, 20. If he could contribute that, then the Nuggets are golden.
No doubt. No doubt. Maestro, you got anything else, or you? Hey
man, like I said, I picked the Nuggets to go to the finals, man. So I'm interested to see if I'm right.
No doubt. Hey, can we now talk about Chris Paul now?
Yeah, we can talk about Chris Paul.
Before we talk about Chris Paul, because I thought you was going to shout these folks out. I know we shouted them out on Keeping It 100 podcast. But I do need to take the time to shout out Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace.
Yes, sir.
And I also need to say rest in peace to Cliff Robinson on our platform. I also need to put out there that Breonna Taylor's killers are still out in the street, as well as Ahmaud Arbery. And I'm drawing a blank on my man.
Jacob Blake. And Jacob Blake, for that matter.
I was about to say, I'm drawing a blank on the recent name. There's so many happening right now that we can't remember the list, but I make it my business to make sure that is put out there on a consistent basis. Also, I don't know if you've been checking my Twitter, Trey. I have been pretty consistent in tweeting Dan Snyder. He needs to sell the team. Sell the team, bro. Go ahead, sell it.
So I ended up following him. I ended up following him, and
I didn't follow him. I'm just going to tweet him now.
You didn't follow? Okay, so I followed him, and of course this message pops up that I got to be approved as a follower. So it's like, oh, okay, you one of them cats. All right, it's all good.
Yeah,
still gonna shout you out. Yeah. I ain't tripping off of it, but it's like, all right.
And let's be clear, he's not going to follow you back.
So I'm expecting to follow me back. I just want to holler at him on Twitter. That's all I want.
Well, you realize you can just add him though. He'll get it if you add him.
You could,
or his team will get it
without
if you
following him,
to,
right?
Yeah, you don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to follow him.
Gotcha. Yeah.
If I may something before we jump on to the next subject, especially because Maestro was so eloquently pointing out rest in power to the deceased. If I could add one more name. The creator of Scooby-Doo, he's famous for, back in that 60s series, all the way up to Mystery Incorporated. Joe Ruby, the creator of Scooby-Doo, had passed away on Friday, and I also would like to give my deepest respects for him as well.
100%. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Joe Ruby. Rest in peace.
All right, now we can get back to sports.
Yeah. Let's do that. Well, you mentioned Dan Snyder. I gotta say this on our platform, Maestro. I really gotta say this. Dan Snyder, sell the team. Sell the team now.
Sell the team, bro. It's only getting worse. It's only getting worse for you.
Oh my God.
And that goes for you too, Woody Johnson.
That's a fact.
Yes. Yeah. Facts. And Jordan, are you surprised that the Woody Johnson thing isn't getting the coverage that it deserves?
I'm surprised only because when I consider, who's more entertaining, the Washington football team that can't seem to pick itself up from the ground, or do I want to consider the other franchise in New York that I always like to eloquently call the clown franchise, because that's what the Jets are, a bunch of clowns. Woody Johnson not getting this coverage is, to me, deeply insulting, especially to a New Yorker. because people need to know that this is serious. I mean, this isn't like, some off-kilter comment that he made like 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. This is stuff that he was doing as a UK ambassador while he was working under the T word. Okay?
Yeah.
So the fact that he has not gotten the coverage like Snyder has, are you kidding me?
Yeah. That's shameful, bro. That's just. I mean, when you look at the grand scheme of things, both franchises are stupid. Yeah, they're stupid franchises. I like to call the clown franchises stupid franchises. So
but they're being ran by stupid people. So it's like, they're the owners.
It
We're literally
explains
talking about the people who own this team. Own these teams. And
it further explains why I call them stupid. But there's just absolutely no reason why Goodell hasn't even sniffed Woody Johnson in terms of, an investigation. And as far as just letting, the Washington team do its own internal investigation, that's a straight up conflict of interest right there. And if I'm Goodell and the owners, I you know what? This article came out, you got more women talking, and, the play-by-play guy was even more involved with, some of the women and, trying to get them naked and all this stuff. Like, man, get this guy out of here. I can't understand why can't Dan Snyder get the Donald Sterling treatment? I don't understand.
Trey, unfortunately, when we look at Woody Johnson, when we look at Roger Goodell, I'm not surprised. Roger Goodell has proven to be time after time after time, and I will say this on the airwaves, he is spineless. All right, he does not have the clout or the gall or the cajones that Adam Silver has.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact.
Sound like you're saying Roger Goodell pussy. I co-sign that.
Exactly. A little Spanish flavor for the show.
Yeah, I like that.
That money make them pussy.
Yeah. Well, look, hey,
that money make them pussy.
You call him a filthy hoe.
Sideline hoe.
Yeah, I feel sideline hoe.
Sideline hoe.
You got a little bar. Okay, I see you with the Monica bar.
Nice little Monica reference. Shout out to Monica and Brandy.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man.
All right. So Chris Paul, let's get to it, and let me give a shout out to RC in the chat here. He says, "Are you going to reset that conversation about Chris Paul at some point? Are you convinced he can take over games?" So I don't know if RC is being facetious or he's of the opinion that Chris Paul, can take over a game. I think RC's convinced. I don't know at all, but I've been saying when games are close and
he's not scared to take the shot
and you need baskets, he's not scared to take shots.
See, I'm not saying that Chris Paul is not a good player. I think he's very much what I would consider he's Hall of Fame, but right now I'm talking about like current season. Mm-hmm. He's probably like a second tier star. He's not really the type of guy that I'm looking for to get you to a finals. The real conversation that we need to have is once again, year after year after year, James Harden choking in the playoffs. That's what it was.
Yeah. Say that then. Look.
James Harden choked.
Look.
He choked.
I'm with you, bro. Look, I wasn't going to be the one to say it because I've been critical of James Harden, even though I think he's an amazing scorer. But he ain't that. I mean, look. See, this is where I get conflicted about my whole star conversation. Because, look, there's no doubting that James Harden is a star. There's no doubting that, and he scores. Yeah, he scores too much for you to not say he's not a superstar. He scores too much. Mm-hmm. But can you really be a superstar when you shrink like this? It's been several occasions where he's shrunken like this. So can he really be a superstar? Because let's be clear, I'm about to give Giannis the same smoke. Well, not really, because Giannis just did what he had to do. But no. Take that back. Giannis is about to get that
smoke.
Giannis is about to get that same smoke that I'm referring to. Yeah, he's about to get that same smoke.
Not after that game one.
Yeah. He's about to get that same smoke. So it's like, if you consistently don't perform when it really, really, really matters, are you really a superstar? Let me be clear. If James Harden don't get them out of this, he's downgraded in my book. He's downgraded. He's no longer a superstar.
Well,
he can score all the points he wants.
And the other thing that's going to happen is Mike D'Antoni is going to get fired from Houston if they lose this Game 7 to OKC tomorrow. Damn
shame. And let's be clear, D'Antoni should be fired if that's the case. Let me be clear on that.
Oh,
yeah. Damn shame that he put all his eggs in the basket of a James Harden, and James Harden continues to not deliver.
And not just that, Maestro and Jordan. I'm gonna reference the offseason trade. These two teams swapped point guards, Russell Westbrook for Chris Paul. And I was hoping that at some point this playoffs that we would get these two teams going at each other, because I thought that this was going to be a compelling series just because of the trade, just because of the history. And here we are. It's Game 6, and I'm going to reference RC by saying that he blames the last night's loss on Russell Westbrook. And I kind of agree with RC, because you look at that fourth quarter, 6 turnovers by Russell Westbrook, and there were moments where you said, yo, you got to get that ball in James Harden's hands. Like, Russell Westbrook, I think you the truth, but Harden's got to get his hands on the rock.
At what point does James Harden not say, "Hey, look, man, he turning the ball over"?
Yeah, right. At what point does he not say that to him directly?
Of this team, as the number one guy on that team, at what point do you go to your coach or go to whoever you need to go to and say, "Hey, nah, my turn"?
Or go to his homeboy, that Russell Westbrook. That's his homeboy. Talk to that nigga. Be like, yo, you know. Dude, you turning the ball over, man. We got to get out of this series. Let me take over this game. And you saw it, like you've seen in previous seasons when he was with the Thunder. Turnovers late in, big spots. You can reference the 3-1 collapse against the Warriors a few years ago. That was partly on Westbrook. This stigma is not just going to be on Westbrook. It's going to be on Harden as well. But specifically, man, Russell Westbrook. Man,
I won't put so much. If you're talking about just this past game, Russell Westbrook. But let's be clear, Russell Westbrook hasn't been there. So I mean, I ain't going. Is in regards to the series,
right?
I'm not going. I'm gonna shoot Westbrook a little bit of bail. He was out. And, obviously he shot terrible the game before, and then he had the turnovers in this,
7 points, right?
Being bad, and he had the turnovers in this last game. So he's been bad since he's been back.
Right,
but, I would kind of shoot him bail because he was playing decent before the injury. So
and probably not 100% at this point still.
Maybe. For me, Russell Westbrook, you are certainly responsible for this past game, but this lies right in James Harden's lap in my book. It lies right in his lap, and because you're the star, because you're the number one guy, and because your coach had so much faith in you to put all the eggs in that basket and not build a real team around James Harden. And let me be clear, I stand on that. This small ball team and all this other bullshit. This ain't it. This ain't it. You're not going to win a championship this way, and you're going to lose your job for it.
So go ahead, Jordan. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine, Trey. I have a different take. Yes, Harden is choking. Yes, Westbrook is not playing well. I even said, before the season started that you can't have a team with Harden and Westbrook on it. They are two alpha males. There is no way, because I remember I was reading a stat that they were number 1, number 2 in ball usage. Like, ball hogs, that's not going to work on team basketball. That's number 1.
Yeah.
Number 2, am I surprised that D'Antoni is blowing another series? No. I saw what I saw in Houston. I've seen what I've seen with the Lakers. Listen, Trey, I don't have to remind you what he did with the Knicks.
Oh, God.
So when we talk about who is to blame, I'm going to need to get some onus to D'Antoni. He does not know how to manage his players, and he never knew how to manage his players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that too.
The only thing D'Antoni gave me was Linsanity for about half a season. That was about it, Jordan.
Yeah, for half a second.
That was it, man. So fellas, Game 7, who wins?
I'm going to stick with my pick with the Rockets because I think, let me say this, I think, and as much as I just got finished ragging on James Harden, choking, blah, 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 I don't want to down this brother. I want him to get his moment. So for that reason, I hope he recognizes that this is his moment amongst, obviously other moments he's had. But I hope he recognizes that this is his moment. And if he does what he's supposed to be doing, this should be a 50, 60-point game. Thunder won't know what to do with that.
What you got, Jordan?
I'm going to agree with Trey, really, because I picked the Rockets to win this series against the Thunder. I definitely don't think Chris Paul is enough, but they are going to get destroyed by the Lakers. Let's be 100% honest.
Of course.
But I'll say this, though. Much respect to Chris Paul for leading this team and running this offense the way this offense was clearly supposed to be ran. Billy Donovan should have had this guy on his team 2 seasons ago. We'd be having a different conversation about the Thunder, I think, because Chris Paul knows how to run a basketball team. So let me be clear in what my criticism is about. Not even criticism, my observation or description of what Chris Paul is. Chris Paul is a leader, a point guard, one of the best to ever do it. But when it comes down to that moment, when sets and X's and O's don't matter, this is where the Thunder, I think, would have to gracefully bow out.
It's unfortunate because what it comes down to, there's not enough talent with the Thunder to get them past the Rockets. They had enough talent to make it competitive. The Thunder have surprised me in ways I didn't expect, and if Thunder management next season really gets their ball going, then I can really see Oklahoma being a dangerous playoff contender next year. It's just not their year. They are lacking too much in talent to continue any further.
I agree.
Yeah. And I picked the Thunder in an upset, and after kind of just watching the series and the way it's going and the way it's flowing, my head tells me the Rockets are going to win tomorrow. My heart wants the Thunder to win. Let me just kind of be clear about that. You're right, Jordan. They don't have the talent to overcome James Harden if James Harden does what he, is capable of doing. And chances are, if James Harden is doing that, combined with shooting threes, if they get that going, then the Thunder are going to get blown out by 25, if all that happens. So I'm going to stick with the Thunder, but I just have a feeling in my head that the Rockets.
Yeah, that wouldn't be.
I will say this. If the Thunder end up winning and they play the Lakers, I am going to give Chris Paul the benefit of a doubt that he can lead his team and make that series very competitive with the Lakers. But I'll get to those predictions when the time comes.
Yeah. Right. No doubt. So let's give the Greek Freak all the smoke that he deserves for this Game 1 loss to the Miami Heat. I watched maybe a half of this basketball game, and because there were other programming things on last night, I didn't get a chance to catch the second half. But yeah, very I was like, wow, because they were up by. Bucks were up by like 10 points for most of that first
11,
half.
Yeah.
About 11, yeah, for most of that first half. And so I didn't get a chance to catch any highlights. I saw the final score. I've heard people talk about how Jimmy Butler was just, being a man amongst boys in the fourth quarter. Yeah, like he was just doing his thing dropping 40, and the Bucks just kind of lost their way. And so what are we to make of this? Is this the Greek Freak, not showing up again like last year, or is it just Miami's just got that defense where they could just put a wall in front of him and then have to force other guys on the Bucks to hit shots?
Go ahead, Jordan.
Oh, good. I'm sorry, not to cut you off. Go ahead, Maestro.
No. Go ahead. You are our guest, brother. Go ahead.
Okay. So here's what I believe this series comes out to. It's not even really about the Greek Freak, in my opinion. This is all about Jimmy Butler, the guy that went up to Milwaukee, went up to Giannis, went up to the Greek Freak, and said, "I ain't afraid of you." And that's what he did in Game 1. And here's the thing. When I look more in depth about this is really the team that I can definitively say that Jimmy Butler is the alpha dog in. In Chicago, when he was over there, it was Derrick Rose. When it was Milwaukee, he was, to me at least, on the onset, he was kind of third behind.
You mean Minnesota?
Right, Minnesota, sorry.
Okay.
With Minnesota, I mean, he was behind Wiggins, he was behind Anthony Towns, just in terms of how the franchise treated him. I'm not saying that Jimmy Butler was worse. I'm just talking about organization perspective. And then Philadelphia, Embiid was the leader and not Butler. Now in Miami, this is his team. I mean, is Jay Crowder the alpha dog? No. Is Goran Dragic? No. Duncan Robinson? No. Bam Adebayo, nice kid? No. It is Jimmy Butler all the way. Yeah. And so when I look at that and I saw what he did against Milwaukee, I'm thinking to myself, the Heat are going to win this series. When I think about it more and more and more, 40 points he scored in Game 1, Jimmy Butler did. I'm predicting that the Heat are going to win. They're going to go on to they're going on to the finals against Toronto.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, see, for me, and so Giannis in the post-game conference, they asked him about why he didn't switch on to Butler at some point in the fourth quarter. And his answer was, "I do whatever my coach tells me to do." See,
or excuse.
Which is a lie. Which really is a lie. That's just more for that's just more so for the mic.
Nah.
I don't believe that.
You saying that? What do you like? You think he's lying about he don't do whatever his coach tell him to do?
Yeah, I just think you just don't want to throw him under the bus. That's just my opinion.
Well, I think that's throwing him under the bus because why in the hell? Again, this is the playoffs. This ain't no regular season game where you could just you can grab this for data and recognize that Jimmy Butler might go the fuck off if you don't put your best defender. I'm sorry, defensive player of the year on the number one, right, on the number one guy who's going the fuck off in your in Game 1.
League MVP.
At some point. You got to assert who is the man in this series, and it's supposed to be Greek Freak. And it goes all the way back to this conversation about him headbutting Mo Wagner in the bubble. It's like, why don't these stories catch headlines when the Greek Freak talk? And it's simple. He's not a superstar. And his play he's a great player. Don't get that confused. Great player. This is probably the most I don't want to say underrated. Hell, I guess at this point we got to say overrated. The most overrated MVP, and you said 2-time defensive. I thought this was his first defensive player of the year, but
about to be a 2-time league MVP in my book.
You think he's gonna win MVP this year?
I think so.
Okay, well,
okay.
I mean, yeah, I'll ask you.
I mean, it's a debate. I mean, I don't think it's like a runaway, but I just somehow think he's gonna win it.
I appreciate where you come from, Trey. I appreciate that.
Yeah, but give the LeBron. But let me get my point off before I say. Look, man, this dude has consistently not performed in these playoff moments, and he's been in the playoffs for a few years now.
Lost to the Raptors, right? And I get the Bucks are like a 6 seed or something like that. I get that.
in a situation where I feel like he should have been able to step up, because really, again, and it goes back to this again. When you are that size, and shouldn't nobody be able to stop you? I'm sorry, yes, I would love for him to be able to develop a consistent jumper. That would be great too. Mm-hmm. But when you decide, hey, I'm going to the rack, shouldn't nobody, because you're fast enough to get past the big guys and the small guys can't guard you. If you want to go to the rack, you should be able to get to the rack. I'm sorry. This is just not acceptable for me, for Giannis and, our league MVP, or, last year's league MVP. So as far as he's still out of league MVP until somebody else is named, that he don't want to take over a game and he don't want to guard the best guy when you just got finished crying about winning Defensive Player of the Year. It's not okay for me. It's not okay.
Go ahead, Jordan.
Well, I cannot have Giannis win MVP this year. Here's why. Because an MVP to me is, and I know that the NBA doesn't really judge it this way, but I want to see it both in the regular season and postseason. Milwaukee looked, I get it that they ended up taking the next 4, but they looked a little shaky against Orlando. Yep. That was not a good sign. Listen, I'm not saying Orlando Magic has a bunch of scrubs or anything like that, but this is a team you're supposed to sweep. Yeah. Take out the trash, essentially. Mm-hmm. So for them to have to do that 5 games, a little concerning. Now, is it a little bit harsh that I judge them based on that? Maybe. But here we go again. A big-time player. It was Kawhi Leonard last year. It's Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
It's Jimmy Butler this year. And you're the Defensive Player of the Year. And I get it, you weren't assigned to Jimmy Butler, but you're really going to let him go 40 on you game 1 and think that's okay?
Mm-hmm. Like, what was that conversation on the bench like with Budenholzer? Like, hey, man, Jimmy, like, did you ever go to your coach like, hey, man, Butler killing us, man. I need to strap him. I mean, hell, why wasn't it Budenholzer's idea like, hey, man, Butler killing us, man, I'm going to need you to strap that up? Like, why was none of these conversations had as he was going off?
I'm not surprised because I alluded to this in, on our show when you guys came on. When I look at Milwaukee, when I look at Miami, I don't like they're not good coaches. It was strictly just talent. So what I'm really meaning to say is I don't believe Mike Budenholzer's a good coach.
Wow.
And let me say something to that, because I think there's moments where Budenholzer, can, coach up a good game plan and, lead a team to victory in, certain moments, particularly in the regular season. And then there's moments like, during his tenure with the Bucks, there's moments where I feel like he feels like he's coaching the Atlanta Hawks, that 60-win Hawk team that had no superstars, and it was just strictly all team ball. Like they was moving the ball real well, got a solid point guard, had a couple of knockdown shooters on the perimeter. Al Horford, kind of doing his thing a little bit. But, dude, you got the Greek Freak.
I was about to say, he's got the Greek Freak.
Right. You don't have these Hawks anymore, dude. You actually have a team with a potential superstar on it. Let that man do him. Let that man take over a game.
The league been trying to christen him for 3 years. They've been trying to knight him. They've been trying to put him above LeBron for 3 years. And here we are.
Yeah, like come on, like stop it. Get that man the reins. I'd be stunned if he didn't give him the reins already, but please. This guy is the star. He's the guy that's gonna get you to where y'all need to be at. Let this guy go. 18 points, and I'm sorry, I get the Greek Freak is not a scoring machine, but 18 points ain't enough for me. Not from him.
He's not a scoring machine?
The Greek Freak, I don't think he's a scoring machine. Like
he don't got a jumper, but he's good. He should be good for 25, and really in the playoffs he should be good for 29, 30. He should be good for that in the playoffs.
But that's my point. Like 18 just ain't good enough for me. But when I mean scoring machine, I'm talking about like when Harden could drop 40, or Donovan Mitchell or Jamal Murray drop 50. I'm talking about those numbers. Like you rarely see.
Okay,
Greek Freak.
he ain't that. Okay,
right?
Yeah,
and that's what I mean. Like you rarely see that from him.
That's why Chris Middleton is so important on that team.
Right.
And
the problem with Chris Middleton is he's just not athletic enough, man. Like you could easily stop that guy from doing what he does best, and he's got no other moves that that's going to scare you after that.
Mm.
We alluded to this back on my cast too. Specifically, Maestro referred to Giannis going to the Golden State Warriors. They lose here. You can guarantee those talks will be happening soon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no question.
He ain't got to be the man in Golden State.
Yeah.
No.
Last year on his contract after the season. Keep that in mind. So either they gonna ride with him next year, or they might just talk about trading the guy. Who knows?
And the problem is that you going to pay him big boy money, even though he ain't playing like a big boy in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. No question.
You got to pay him big boy money. He deserved that.
Yeah, right. So this series, I don't think we talked about predictions and stuff like that. So for me, I'm still gonna stick with the Bucks here. And it's game one, and I get that they let game one slip away. I'm just thinking at the end of the day, and Maestro alluded to it, when you got that much size and you could take it to the rack as many times as you want, even though he's not doing it to the potential that he could do it. At the end of the day, I'm just not sure Miami has the guys consistently, and I mean consistently. And I get they play some great defense, but in the end, man, the stars got to rise, and Greek Freak, he's just hard to stop. So I'm gonna give it to the Bucks still. I think the Bucks win in 6. I'm gonna give Miami some respect.
Man, Trey, you kind of hit it on the head, but for me, I think this might be the dethroning of a star and the crowning of a new one.
Yeah. And I'd be happy for Jimmy Butler. I'd be happy for him.
I got the Heat in 7. I got the Heat in 7. They'll fight. The Bucks will fight, and Greek Freak will do what he does because that's just athletically that's just who he is.
Right.
But I think when it gets tight, Jimmy Butler is a dog, and I don't think Greek Freak is a dog. I think he just athletic. Mm-hmm. I think he just got size and he's athletic. Mm-hmm. I think Jimmy Butler is a dog. Jimmy Butler got a better jumper. Jimmy Butler willing to go in them trenches and strap up who he got strap up and then still score. Like we sleep. Jimmy Butler is a legit two-way player. It ain't just offense with him. He a two-way player.
Right.
I got the Heat in 7, man. I think and let me say it just like I meant it when they played Orlando. Mm-hmm. If there was a chance that the Milwaukee Bucks are anywhere besides the conference finals, Giannis Greek Freak, he got to be dethroned, man. He's not that guy. He's not that guy anymore to me. He's not. They need to stop all this Greek Freak, possibly being better than LeBron one day. All that got to cease in my book. He got to go to conference finals at least.
Yeah. Well, he got to get to the finals this year.
Look.
Let's be real.
When you look at the competition, you're right. Because let's be clear, if the Raptors is the team, the other team that you're concerned about,
yep.
This is the same situation. He should be able to dominate whoever else is on the other side of that team. And really, if you're talking about the Celtics, there's nobody with Giannis' size too. But it would be him beating another dog and Tatum. That it would be that situation again. Well, he's continuously going to be faced with guys who are dogs, and you got to assert who's the bigger dog, who got the bigger bite. And right now, it don't look like he can pass Jimmy Butler. If I'm just basing this off of game one and Giannis's past. Just
to make a point about Jason Tatum and the Celtics, I think the Celtics got 3 dogs. I think Jason. I mean, I think Jalen. I think Jalen Brown is a dog.
I don't think Jalen Brown is a dog. Let's be clear. When I say I don't, I'm talking about they scrappy players. I'm talking about dogs. Like it's like allow me to separate. We're not counting on Jalen Brown to take over no game. We're not counting on Kemba Walker to take over no. It's Jason Tate. Like every team has that one. You'd be blessed to have that. You have to have two. But everybody has that. Everybody has that one. That one for Boston is Jason Tatum. That one for I don't know who that. The one for Milwaukee is obviously Greek Freak. I don't even know if Toronto has one, which is why I don't have them going to the finals.
You said a dog. You said a person that could be like, okay, enough of the X's and O's. We got to get out of this funk. Let's do this. Yeah, I'm not sure Toronto has that.
I'm not sure if Toronto has that. Greek Freak he got some balling to do. Yeah. In my book, he got some balling in everybody's book. But I would definitely call for the dethroning. The possible dethroning of Giannis and of that all let's cut the shit about all this. He gonna be better than LeBron one day. And I get stats, cool, and but nah, that's dead to me.
I wanted to make the point about the Celtics kind of in this respect. Brown, Tatum, and Kemba Walker, all three of those guys are averaging 20 plus points a game. So if you're Milwaukee and you just got the Greek Freak, and then Middleton is your next guy, and we got questions about Middleton already, it's going to be hard for the Bucks to get past Boston if it, kind of comes down to that because of those three players, plus the fact that Jason Tatum, I believe, is that dude, when it get down to it.
And then here's the thing for real, and that's why it's so much pressure on Giannis. This Bucks team ain't that good.
Mm-hmm. That's why you're MVP.
Keep it a buck. Keep it a buck. This team on paper, I mean, hell, not even on paper. We seen them play. This team ain't that good outside of Giannis. They just not.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why I am also picking Miami to win, but they're going to win in 6 games, not 7.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I mean, what I just saw from Jimmy Butler in this postseason alone, again, I am referencing the fact that now it's Jimmy's turn. He's finally the alpha dog on a team, and you saw what he did to Indiana, who I thought Indiana was going to at least make it competitive. Jimmy and the Heat wiped the floor with the Pacers. And I'm not trying to poo-poo on Giannis or anything. I just don't see that that leader mentality. I kind of compare him a little bit to Paul George in a way. Just that, he needs a guy. He needs a guy. He can't do it by himself. And the reason why I pointed out Golden State is the fact that when I look at Golden State, the one thing that they are truly missing, well, besides Kevin Durant leaving them, is a center. They don't have a center.
Yeah, we'll see if that transpires, man. I mean, there's definitely going to be talks about that if they don't get out of this series with the Heat. And speaking of the Heat, I got to go to the chat for a second. We got a Miami Heat fan in the chat room, Miss Mocha Bella. She says, so Trey, what if the Heat win in Game 2? What are you going to say? Well, at that point, if they're down 0-2, then it's curtains for the Bucks. You can't go down 0-2 and think you're just going to rack off 4 in a row.
Yeah.
For real. And what up to Miss Girly Girl in the chat, too?
What's happening, Girly Girl?
Appreciate you.
How you doing, Miss Girly Girl?
So let's talk about this Boston and Toronto series. And I got the game on right now. It's the fourth quarter. Raptors are down by 3 points. It's 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
I just seen Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart did hit like 5 threes in a row.
Oh, word?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So if the Raptors go down,
I'm sorry, Trey. And I don't think Marcus Smart is hitting jumpers on a Toronto team that's supposed to be going to the finals.
Are they supposed to go? Are they supposed to finals? I don't know
what people be saying to me. They be saying to me like Toronto going to the finals, and they letting the likes. And again, no shade to Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart is a defensive player. He is not a jump shooter.
Right. I get you. I get you.
If that was not to interrupt you, Trey, but if that was a subtle way of calling me out, Maestro, excellent job there, because I did pick Toronto to go to the at least the conference finals. So what did I see from game one? It was a blowout. All right, the Raptors did not look good whatsoever. So that's obviously not great for my prediction. Boston is currently up 97-92 with about 3:17 to go. Also not really looking good for my prediction. However, and I understand that this is, game 2, so I'd like to see what happens in the next 5 games. But what I talked about specifically, why this matchup was going to be so good, was the coaching matchup, and that it was going to be a close-knit game. It was going to be a very defensive balance. Like, this is the kind of score I predicted was going to happen. A very close, not a high-scoring game. I have a feeling, though, and I know it's about 2:34 left, but let's see if Toronto can sneak away with this game right here.
Hey, I don't know. I don't know, man. I just saw Jason Tatum just cross the mess out of Pascal Siakam, just brought him down to his knees, man.
Man. That's not good. That's not good.
yeah, they're showing the replay of it right now. Whoa. Oh, man. Yeah, it's not good for Toronto, man.
All right, well, you know what? I got Nuggets next, so
right. Yeah, right, man. So I guess if the Raptors go down, man, 0-2, I mean, it's a lock. It's almost like
I'm not going to lock nothing at 0-2 in no series. Let me be clear. I will say that it looks very, very bad.
Yeah, in a bubble anyway.
It looks very. Yeah, I can't call it. We just got finished watching the Rockets be up 2-0. You know what I'm saying? So
that's true. That's true.
It can happen. 0-2 ain't the donezo for me, but it looks bad. And let's be clear, it looked bad because if we're talking about the Raptors and Celtics series, it looks bad because who is going to put this team on their back? In the Raptors, who is going to say enough? We're not going to sit here and watch y'all dog us the way y'all been dogging us.
Right.
Siakam on his knees right now. Marcus Smart hitting threes. Like, it's
yeah. Kemba Walker just knocked down a 3 to put him up by 6. It's
Look, again. The Raptors are a well-coached team. You'd be hard pressed to see the Raptors really just be flat out dominated by anybody based on their coaching, based on their coach and their coaching ability. But it's just, is it to give kudos to a coach who could just keep staying within 5 in a series as they getting swept?
No. And speak of coaching, you got a good one with the Celtics, too, in Brad Stevens.
And he just got the talent.
Absolutely.
He just has the talent.
Yeah. I love the Kemba Walker pickup in the offseason, though, man. Because that guy, you talk about a guy that can knock down some shots and is not scared of the moment. Kemba Walker's not scared of no moment. And that's what's troubling for any team that has to go against Boston in the East anyway. I don't know about the West.
Thing. That's the thing. As this team evolves, it's going to be Tatum who got it on his back. But let's say he got to kick it out. He got it to 2 guys.
Mm-hmm.
He can kick it out to 2 guys in Jaylen Brown and Kemba Walker, who will take the shot, who are waiting to take the shot.
Yep. Yeah. And Tatum there again. He just knocked down another. Oh no, I guess they waved it off. I guess it was a technical foul. Raptors are lucky right here. Yeah.
All right, come on, let's get that free throw. Let's go.
Right,
yeah. Get the free throw, get the possession, and you do all that. So
let's go get a 3.
So Maestro. So for you, it's Miami and Boston in the Eastern Conference Final.
Yeah, and that is going to be a tough. That's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, for both teams, that'll be
teams.
Tough.
But that's going to be a good series.
Yep. And Jordan, you got the Heat and the Raptors.
Yes, and no matter which way you look at it, Toronto and Boston, that's a more difficult series to predict. Miami is going to easily get to the conference finals. Mm-hmm. You heard it here first on the Barbershop Sports Talk podcast. I call out, Jordan Rosario calls out that Miami will get there in 6 games. And no matter which opponent Miami plays, it's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, so before I get to the next subject, I just want to kind of close the basketball conversation with obviously what went on last week. So the Milwaukee Bucks, they elected to boycott their game against the Magic last week, and that was just a big ripple effect, not amongst just the NBA, but throughout Major League Baseball, tennis, hockey, and a few other sports, soccer. And I thought it was just great to see these athletes, exercise their power to make these owners understand that, hey, we're just not going to settle for anything. We're just going to have to come together with some kind of conclusion, to get what we want. So it was a beautiful sight to see last week. I think there was like 3 days, I should say, of no basketball. With the baseball, there were, several teams that elected not to play, not the entire league. And then you had the hockey and playoffs. Those teams did their, they did their thing. So I guess my question to both of you, what is the end game at this point? Like, everybody's back playing. These games are going on. We I guess kind of know very little about what's, going on behind the scenes and, what conversations were had. But at the end of the day, there's got to be an end game to this. So in y'all's opinion, where do we go from here?
Do you want this first, Maestro?
Go ahead, man.
So where do we end up going? I mean, I alluded to, and we're talking about the boycotts, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yep. So what I believe is going to happen, Leo on our last episode alluded to this, and I really think this is a good idea. With the boycotts, I definitely believe there's going to be another one in the NBA. Now, I understand that there's already something put in place that essentially said, the NBA essentially said you can't do that, but I have a feeling that, and it's going to be unannounced, so you're not going to know about it, just like you really didn't know that the boycotts were going to happen early, back on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It's going to be unannounced, and I feel like it's going to, and unfortunately, I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's going to be connected to another unfortunate incident that we're going to find out later.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. For me, man, first off, let me, give a round of applause, a hand clap for everybody who took place in the boycotts. The Milwaukee Bucks, Kenny Smith, the Lakers, the Clippers, the Bucks. I just said the Bucks. Everybody who was involved. The NBA and as a whole, obviously, everybody who was involved in, showing a sign of protest. I appreciate the gesture. But again, and I don't want to can of worms again. I'd be lying to you if I didn't say I am not mentally capable of having another one of those mentally draining conversations about why in 2020 we still dealing with this bullshit. But I'll say this. I appreciate everybody's gestures and keep them coming. And let's keep the dialogue for change open.
Yeah, facts. So here's kind of where I'm at with it. And there's always seems to be a lot of questions from people who don't understand the economics of sports and doesn't acknowledge that these billionaire owners have clout. They know people. They're in relationships, particularly business relationships with other important people. And so for folks out there that want to question, well, what does this boycott do? Is it going to stop, the killings of black people in the streets? Is it gonna, stop us from being profiled? No, it's not gonna stop us from, us being killed in the streets as black men. It's not gonna stop the systemic racism in this country. It's not going to stop any of that. But what the boycott does is that it puts billionaire owners at a crossroads. It puts these important people with decisions to make. So, I'll give you an example. And I don't think this gets talked about enough. But every time you hear one of these owners of these franchises, it doesn't matter whether it's baseball, basketball, football, whatever, you hear these owners cry out for new facilities, or they cry out for new stadiums because their current stadium situation's no good. Who are they talking to when they, cry for stuff like that? They're talking to city officials, they're talking to mayors, they're talking to important people in city halls all across the country. So what happens? Either they relocate their team someplace, or the city says, you know what, we don't want you to leave because we acknowledge your economic impact on our city. So we're going to grant you this money. We're going to grant you these opportunities so that you can get a new facility, or you can get a new ballpark, arena, or whatever. And to me, I think that further proves that these business owners, these billionaire franchise owners, they have relationships with people in higher power that runs these cities. So you can't tell me that, they can't influence change in the community. You can't tell me that they can't knock on the door or make a phone call to somebody at City Hall and say, hey, man, I need you to meet me out here in these streets. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about changes and reform. Let's talk about what we could do to be, better police in the community. Let's talk about these things. These billionaire owners have the power to start these conversations, and every time you have a Breonna Taylor or a George Floyd, this same stuff keeps happening. These same conversations keep coming up, and and I'll allude to Maestro. It's a draining conversation to have. It's a tiresome conversation, but
it's exhausting.
It is. It really is. But I think what needs to not notice is that don't underestimate the importance of sports when it comes to the economic portions of it, because they do make a big difference in what city officials, in what they make decisions, whether they want to keep the team, whether they want, hey, we can't give you the money, so you're going to have to find someplace else. These billionaire owners have the power. Jerry Jones has enough money under a sidewalk to where he can go to somebody in Texas and say, hey, I need you to change this law for me. My players aren't happy about what's going on, and I'm losing business because of that, because they're boycotting. These other owners have that same power. So I just wanted to get that off my chest. And, if you guys don't have nothing, man, I'll just go right to the next subject.
All right, we could move.
I will say one thing. Sports does have an immediate impact, and I know we had talked about Chadwick Boseman earlier. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. But he did play Jackie Robinson in 42, and Jackie Robinson to me is the best early example that I could see, like, sports really impacting life the way that at least it did, back then when, African-American black players weren't even allowed to play baseball. So moving down the line, what does that all mean? With what happened, because it wasn't just the NBA boycott, a joint collective effort by the WNBA, the NHL, and the MLB to not only postpone Wednesday, but then go Thursday and Friday. That's significant to me, and that's why when I tie this all back in together, that we're going to see another movement like this. I will not predict when that happens, but definitely expect another boycott of some sort to happen.
Yeah. But, unfortunately, it's going to be on the life of another black man or woman. And, that's just the unfortunate part of it.
And believe me, Maestro, I don't say this. It's not easy for me to say this,
Yeah.
If we're going to move this conversation the way this conversation needs to be moved, if we need to expose the ugly truth of it all, something like this has to happen. And I don't say that easily. I really don't.
Yeah.
No, I hear you, man. Want to say what up to a couple people in the chat. We got Deacon Dell, the blues man up here in the chat room. Appreciate your support.
What's up, Deacon?
So, wanted to get into a football topic here. Leonard Fournette is now on the street after being cut by Jacksonville, and Jacksonville is basically having a fire sale. They're just tanking for the...
nobody's surprised by this, right?
No, nobody's surprised.
They're a crappy organization. Nothing surprising there.
Yep. And you already had the Ngakoue trade to the Vikings, which I think was a great trade for the Vikings. But kind of getting to Fournette for a minute here, and I said this to you in the past, Maestro, that I always thought that if the Jags would ever cut him, that the Pittsburgh Steelers was probably the best fit for him at that time. But now that we're here, what you think?
Nope.
You don't want Leonard Fournette?
Nope. It's gonna cost me at least $4 million. That's not a good move right now.
$4 million? Man, that's cheap. That's cheap for a running back.
You seen that salary cap?
It's over the cap.
We ain't got no whole bunch of money right now.
Oh, okay.
We ain't got no hope. It's not a good move. If we could get him for the low, yeah, of course we would love Leonard Fournette right now. But it just ain't the move right now. I respect it. I don't not in this situation. I don't believe he's that much of an asset where I need to sit here and dream about Leonard Fournette being on my team. Look, I take my chances with Ben Roethlisberger at quarterback healthy. That helps James Conner stay healthy.
I'm about to say, you take your chances at James Conner if we're just talking the running back position.
Well, no, we are a throwing team, so that helps James Conner. That helps. We got a young boy in Benny Snell that I like, so I'm looking forward.
Is Big Ben going to last this year?
That's my hope.
Okay.
All you could do is hope.
I got questions about that.
He can look. I tell you what, we got a decent offensive line. He is. And if we're talking about his injury last year, it was an elbow injury, which means he did it throwing the ball. So we hope that they did all the necessary surgery and got him back. He lost a little bit of weight, the whole shit they try to tell you to convince you that he's going to be okay. All I had is that hope that he's going to be okay. Like I said, it's going to help James Conner. Benny Snell is a young boy coming up. I like what he's doing on the field coming up. And we got Boogie McFarland from Maryland. We good over here.
Well, look, I think, and you could tell me if I'm off base, and I'm sure you're going to tell me I'm off base about this. I'm not sure that you guys being a throwing team is going to be good for that defense that you guys got. Y'all got a top 3 defense right now, and I'm just not sure that just slinging it all over the lot is going to help that defense do what it do. I mean,
yeah, but James Conner is good enough because of the threat of Ben Roethlisberger. I'm not saying that we're going to be. I'm not talking about 70-30. I'm talking about more 40-60.
Okay, or 45-55.
Yeah,
okay.
We're clearly a throwing team on the arm of one of the better quarterbacks in the league. When I say better, I don't mean top 10. Well, I would put Ben Roethlisberger top 10 right now. Just on his, I would put him top 10 right now.
I'm sure would.
But
go ahead.
But in the scheme of objectivity, he's at least top 15.
Yeah, I'll buy that.
Yeah, so I mean, for that, I think that's good enough with his defense to make the necessary strides. Mm-hmm. I'll take that for his last 2 years, and let's be clear, we on his swan song right now. So I'm riding with my quarterback since 2004.
Yeah, there's no question they got to be a balanced offense. There's certainly no question about that. What you got, Jordan?
Before I bring my Fournette point, not to hijack the show, but Celtics have ultimately won Game 2, so my prediction is in question. They're definitely in question. Going back to Fournette, so I have a short list. One team in particular that's really selfish for me, but two sensible teams. And I'll start off with the sensible teams first. Mm-hmm. One, the New Orleans Saints. Why? Because of what's going on with Alvin Kamara.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I heard about that. They trying to trade him?
They're trying not only to trade him, but there's a contract dispute in the fact that, Kamara is making about $2.1 million this year. Right. And, obviously Kamara doesn't feel like he's a $2.1 million guy, which I do agree with him, in fact.
Yep.
And because of that dispute, the Saints are looking to trade him. So Fournette kind of filling in because besides Fournette, who else you got? Ty Montgomery? No.
What's his name
Murray?
Is still there?
No.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
no.
Latavius Murray there still, right?
He don't believe. He's saying he don't believe in Murray. He's saying he don't believe in Murray.
No, I don't.
Look, he's not a starter, Latavius Murray in my book. No, but in the scheme of what Kamara does, Leonard Fournette is not going to be a serviceable guy. Leonard Fournette. Kamara he's going to get you 50, 60 catches along with that. I don't believe Fournette is that guy.
Well, so Fournette, to me, I just think he got a bad rap in Jacksonville, if you want me to be honest. I mean, okay. Do you really expect me to think that Fournette would do well against that offensive line they put together? The fact that he had to essentially line up behind a Blake Bortles, who in my opinion sucks, Nick Foles, who got a lucky break in Philadelphia. He essentially showed you what he was like in Jacksonville. And now he's out in Chicago trying to beat out Mitch Trubisky and struggling, which is a problem because Trubisky is god-awful. Yeah. And now Gardner Minshew, I'll give him some credit. He's a very good quarterback, but I definitely need to see a lot more of him before I'm crowning him Jaguars official. So Fournette, let me get him into a competent organization like the Saints with a Drew Brees, with a Sean Payton that knows offense and made Kamara, the 2017 Offensive Rookie of the Year, if I may add. Or you could take him to the Patriots, who, if Fournette's looking to prove himself, he's kind of under that same umbrella like Cam Newton over there. So there's a little bit of story with that. Now, is Fournette going to be the star there? No, he's going to be placed under a platoon. But if Fournette wants to win, some rings and bring some credibility to himself, prove himself, then New England's not a bad choice. Now, this next team, this is a very selfish request.
I love selfishness.
Can the Broncos pick him up? Let's get that three-headed monster going with Lindsey, Gordon, and Fournette. Are you kidding me?
That would be a problem.
Are you kidding me?
That would be
a problem.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what, because I said this. I said this in in circles. If Fournette is picked up by Denver, the Denver Broncos will be your 2020 AFC West champions.
Wow.
You heard it.
Talking big right now.
That's big. That's big boy talk right there, Jordan.
Hot takes. I like it.
I'm nothing but hot takes. Keep them coming.
Oh man. Well, here's a team that I thought could use Leonard Fournette. And it's funny you brought the Patriots up because it would sort of kind of be like that LeGarrette Blount type situation where he goes over there and he, kind of does similar things like LeGarrette Blount did. They kind of play
the same style too.
Right, yeah, right. So I kind of agree with you there. And even with the Saints situation, if anything, I would get LeGarrette Blount and keep Alvin Kamara. I wouldn't swap them, for no reason whatsoever.
Leonard Fournette, you mean?
Leonard Fournette, right. I would, pick him up and keep Alvin Kamara. But the one team that I think could use, I'm about to say LeGarrette Blount again, Leonard Fournette, I think the Eagles should take a run at this guy. And the Eagles, for a long time, have had these undersized running backs, and they were great undersized running backs. LaShawn McCoy, Brian Westbrook, and, you kind of go
Jay Ajayi for 1 year.
Who's that?
Jay Ajayi for 1 year.
I wouldn't call him undersized. Jay Ajayi was a big boy.
Oh, he was?
Was he?
Jay was a big boy. Yeah, Jay Ajayi was like 225, 230.
Oh, okay.
He played a little small, but I could be completely wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
But kind of getting to the point, I think that, I mean, when was the last, like, bruising running back that the Eagles had? Deuce Staley?
Starting, I mean, Jordan Howard was there. Jordan Howard has a bruising style. He was there. I mean, I guess if you're talking about starting, Deuce Staley maybe. Deuce Staley was probably the last guy, but you're talking about that was damn near the 90s.
15,
like,
almost 20 years ago. 15, 20 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, they seem to be very high on Miles Sanders this year.
Yep.
As the starter?
As the starter. It was funny because I've done, we did our fantasy draft Sunday.
Yep.
And I did another draft like last Thursday. And ESPN got him ranked as the 8th highest fantasy running back.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. Number 8.
Number 8.
Wow.
Okay. So that says a lot to me about how they think the Eagles plan on using him this year.
Right. Do you think that kind of coincides with the possibility of having Jalen Hurts start some games, or maybe the type of offense that they're going to run? I think
Miles Sanders, he was returning kickoffs and punts, if I'm not mistaken, last year. Mm-hmm. He's a speed guy who can catch out of the backfield, but they tend to think that he's going to be able to get it, running between the tackles.
Right.
It seems as if he's going to be the starting running back. There's no other reason, because it was funny, not to kind of go off on a tangent.
Yeah.
Sonny Michel of the Patriots is ranked very low this year.
I guess I'd have to see what the number he's ranked at, because in my mind, I always think that Patriots running backs are always ranked low.
I tell you what, James White is over him right now in rankings.
Okay. I can't say I'm surprised by that.
No, I can't either. I always thought that James White was the best running back out of the Patriots.
Yeah, but Sonny Michel's been starting. He started at majority of last year.
No, I get that, but when what screams to me, okay, who's that big Patriots running back that makes the plays when he has to, when you need to go to the goal line or something like that? Whose number are you calling? It ain't Sonny Michel. It's James White.
Yes. In the past, yes, I agree that James White has been the better producer when it comes to those, but. I'm surprised that Sonny Michel is a younger back. Sonny Michel is he's a good back. Like, they drafted him number 1 in the first round for a reason, coming out of Georgia, if I'm not mistaken. Like, he was he's a solid. He's a solid. He came in with I would think with the expectations to be the starter, and I get that they run a committee system over there, but his ranking for James White to be over him, it was surprising to me, unless he's being named as the number 1 guy, as a starter. And I haven't heard him being named as a starter yet.
Yeah,
I haven't heard anything like that either.
Yeah, it's a bit surprising for me to see any Patriots running back be, ranked, in the upper.
Well, no,
tier.
I'm more so saying that in the sense of, he wasn't even the top guy on his team, according to their rankings.
Right. Well, I hope Leonard Fournette finds a team really soon.
I'm sure he will.
I think he's still got
no doubt
left. I mean, he's been in the league 4 years?
He has been. 4. Yeah. He was drafted in 2017. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I remember. That was the year that he ran all over Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
in the regular season and in the playoffs. So
when Jacksonville was something.
Yeah. When people thought Blake Bortles was, earned the money because of the playoff wins.
Blake Bortles earning money. That's funny.
Yeah. Where is he at? He's with the Rams, right?
The Rams.
Yeah, I think he's the backup for the Rams, if I'm not mistaken.
So they got 2 backup quarterbacks on that roster.
Yeah.
Him and Jared Goff.
That's a fact.
Yeah,
man, that's robbery, man. But I got one more topic here, and it more so pertains to you, Jordan.
Hold on. I just wanted to correct what I said. Blake Bortles is currently a free agent. He is not playing anywhere.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Which, what deserves.
I was going to say he could stay a free agent.
I mean, he hit a lick. He hit a lick in Jacksonville, so, hope he saved his money up.
Yeah. Somebody will pick him up just to make an excuse to fill a roster spot. Put him on a practice squad or something. I don't know.
Don't. He better not come for the Broncos. I don't want his stink. I don't want his stink to contaminate my boy Drew Lock. So Blake Bortles, you stay the hell away from Denver.
Well, I guess we could kind of get into that, Jordan. How you feeling about Drew Lock?
Drew Lock, to me, am I saying he's the guy after 8 games when you go 6-2 last year? Absolutely not. The kid still has a lot to prove, and he has got some very tough tests. I've looked at the schedule. Tennessee, that's not going to be an easy cakewalk. You got your AFC finalist, as the Colts like to point out, a banner stating so, which is funny. But another story for another day. So he's got that tough test, and he's got a couple of games that are really tough. And if we can stay the course, if we can get to, because I want to pull up the Broncos schedule while I'm saying all this, but if we can at least go 2-2 or 3-1 the first 4 games, so that's Titans, Maestro Steelers, the Buccaneers, and the Jets.
If we can go AFC South, that NFC South, right?
We've got the NFC South this year. Yep. And we've got the AFC East this year, too, so that's going to be really interesting. But if we can go through, if we go, 5 games, let's go 5 games. If we can go 3-2, 2-3, right around there, we've got a chance to sneak into the wild card. However, and again, this is all predicated on Fournette coming to the Broncos. If Fournette comes to the Broncos, I could see us going 12-4. And That's dethroning the Chiefs.
That's crazy.
You got a lot of faith in Leonard Fournette.
That means the Chiefs either got to go 12-4 and lose to a tiebreaker to y'all, or they got to go 11-5.
Oh no! If Fournette comes to Denver, we're sweeping the Chiefs. We are sweeping the Chiefs if Fournette comes to Denver.
Wow!
Oh snap!
Wow!
Oh snap!
Wow!
I'm gonna make sure I keep this episode
I hope you do.
Record.
Yeah. Oh, trust me.
I can't wait to come back. I can't wait to come back.
Look, I'm trying to make sure that we don't go over 2 hours because this new app that I got on my phone that could cut up audio and we could post it on Instagram only lets you do it if you don't go over 2 hours. So we need to make sure we don't go over 2 hours so I can take that clip and post it online for the world to see.
Well, I'm going to guarantee you we are not going over 2 hours tonight. So
100%.
We got this one last topic that I want to get Jordan's take on because it has to do with his baseball team. You're a New York Mets fan, right, Jordan?
Yes, sir. Well, Mets are my second, Rockies are my first, but I do hold the Mets in my heart. Yes.
Got you. So, over the weekend, it was announced that billionaire Steve Cohen has been selected to exclusively bid for the rights to purchase the New York Mets. And it appears that the A-Rod, J-Lo combination of ownership group is out of the running for this. So, in your opinion, Jordan, how you feeling about this new cat, Stevie Cohen, coming in to buy the Mets?
I had, when I saw this on the feed, I had to do a little bit of research on Stephen Cohen because I didn't know who he necessarily was, but he's got about $14.1 billion in the bank. He's a New York Mets fan. I've read about that into him. So, with that being said, if he ends up buying the Mets from the Wilpons, I'll just say hallelujah. We finally got rid of the Wilpons, who are just one of the most awful owners of the New York Mets. I mean, you took over this team and you couldn't even get us a World Series. We're sitting second place to the Yankees. Get the hell out of here.
At least y'all got there in 2015.
Yeah, but we got, what was it, 4-0 or 4-1, that we got down to the Royals. So, the less I say about that World Series, the better. Please, that gives me the sweats. But if Stephen Cohen buys the Mets, he puts his $14.1 billion into the New York Mets. Your Yankees are in trouble. Your Yankees are in trouble, Trey. Absolutely.
So y'all trying to be the Clippers
Cohen
in New
ain't
York.
Playing around.
Y'all trying to be the Clippers in New York, huh?
You mean the Nets in New York?
Well, no, because
he's talking about
the Clippers, because they're the second team in Los
because
Angeles. They just got rid of an owner, and Steve Ballmer is a billionaire owner that's come in and has kind of done a great job with the team. So you're expecting Steve Cohen to kind of do the same thing with the Mets in New York.
I understand the analogy now. And yes, I'll tell you what, the Mets are going to be the class of the National League to come if Cohen buys the New York Mets.
Well,
watch.
You got to spend that bread, though. You got to spend that bread.
I'm just happy that Brian Urlacher is no longer in the talking.
I know. And the less I say about that piece of shit, the better.
Yeah. I didn't think he was going to bring his name up, but yeah, he can go.
Nah, he could take an L. Take that L, player.
Yeah.
Sorry that
definitely
means Bradley Beal got to take it, but you take the L too, player.
I was going to say, because some other people that invested, into the group, they got to take L's, but hey, scared money don't make money, right?
Yeah, that's
exactly. Yep.
Yeah, word. So yeah, my thoughts on it. I mean, that's good for you guys, but at the end of the day, you got to question if he's going to really spend the money or not, because that's been the problem with the Mets for so many years, is that they've been cheap. They've been, acting like they're a small market team. Little Walmart trades here and there, like, can't run a team like that and expect to win, and expect to compete. So, congrats to the Mets, if this does happen. But at the end of the day, I want to see if the dude's going to spend the guap.
He will. Something tells me, because I've read into it, he's a Mets fan. Do I expect him to, take all of his all his $14 billion and spend it on the Mets? No, I don't believe that whatsoever. But he's probably going to spend a billion or two to help the Mets get to respectability.
All right, we'll see, man. We'll see. Just want to shout out a few people here in the chat, and then we're going to close this thing out. We got H-Rap B, the Slimeball King, representing the BFTN network. We also got New Max Radio up in here. What's good? He says, go Browns, and I feel bad for you when you say that.
Yep.
And and we got the #1 Chief Rocker Jersey Vern, also representing the BFTN network. Who's also a Yankees fan, by the way, Jordan. So obviously he's in the chat. He doesn't believe a word you're saying about the Mets. So wanted to point that out.
Yeah, and he didn't believe a word about what I said about the Knicks either. So I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I love you, Chief Rocka. Love you.
So Jordan, for the last time here, man, just want you to tell everybody where they can find you, social media wise, your platform, your podcast. Let the crowd know where they can find you at.
Absolutely. So on the Keeping It 100 podcast that Trey and Maestro guest starred on, you can find that on Spotify, iTunes, Spreaker, Google Podcast, any major streaming platform out there. You can like us on our Facebook page. As long as you type in the Keeping It 100 podcast on your search bar, you'll find the Keeping It 100 podcast right at the top. I appreciate the 500 likes that we have gotten on our Facebook page so far. It means a lot to us, the team, so we definitely appreciate that. You can also follow me personally on Facebook on Jordan Rosario. On Instagram, we have a Keeping It 100 page on Instagram that admittedly I need to do a lot more upkeep on. But that is, if you type in Keeping It 100 _podcast, you'll find our Instagram. To find my personal Instagram, that is Jordan Rosario 8097. That is my Instagram. And you can also follow us, subscribe to us on Geekly Goods. I will actually be, after this episode, be going over to Geekly Goods and doing a live stream of Cobra Kai.
All right, that's dope.
The Karate Kid joint.
Yeah, that Karate Kid series.
I'm not super hip. Yeah, I'm not super hip with it, but I keep seeing it.
I got you.
All right, that's what's up. That's what's up, Jordan, man. We appreciate you gracing us on the Barbershop Sports Talk podcast, man. It was a lot of fun today. Appreciate you. Just want to give thanks and shout outs to everybody in the chat room. We appreciate your support. We appreciate everything you do for us. Just a few things before we get up on out of here. You can find our podcast on these platforms. We're on Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts. Also, you can find us on YouTube. We got the YouTube page up. So if you guys are YouTube users, make sure you subscribe to the page. Also, you can find us on social media on Instagram at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. I myself am on Instagram at Trey Frazier. You can check out Maestro Styles at Maestro Styles on Instagram. Also on Twitter at Maestro Styles, at Barbershop SPOR2. We got the Facebook page. And if you got any questions or comments about the show, we got email address. It's barbershopsportstalk1@gmail.com. So, Maestro, if you got nothing to say, man, let's get up on out of here.
Yes, sir.
No doubt, no doubt. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good week. We're going to holler back at you next week. Peace.